Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. I appreciate you being with me today. There are two stories breaking right now that both have something terrible in common. They are stories about kids who kill their own parents. The first story is very close to home for me because not only did it happen here in Utah, one of my best friends, Skylar, if you're on Patreon, you've met Skylar, worked with the victim in this case for many years. This case is so new that an arrest has not yet been made, so we will be speaking in alleged terms, but I feel an arrest is imminent. In the second story, an arrest was made less than 2 weeks ago, and when it was, it shocked the true crime community and the TikTok community because the arrested person has been very active on TikTok, making videos about how much she misses her murdered mother. It's an incredibly disturbing story. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. Today we are talking about new killer kids. I'm your host, Stacy Lee. Let's begin. It's 10:15 in the morning in Saratoga Springs, Utah, which is a community that sits on Utah Lake about 50 miles south of Salt Lake City. It's a beautiful bedroom community where all four seasons are fully on display. Young families make their home in the valley surrounded by the lake mountains. A panicked call comes into the 911 dispatch center from this townhome complex in Saratoga Springs. On the line is a 17-year-old girl named Alexis. The family released her name, but I'm just going to use her first name here today. Alexis is calling to say that she just came home and found her mother and her little brother on her mother's bedroom floor covered in blood. Police rushed to the scene where they found 44-year-old Jessica Lyman lying next to her 8-year-old son, Eli Painter. Little Eli was pronounced dead at the scene. Jessica was unconscious but still alive. Both had been shot in the head. We just learned this the other day, but Jessica's underwear was pulled down around her knees, indicating sexual assault. We're going to go into that more in a moment. Jessica was rushed to the hospital where doctors did what they could to stabilize her. A rape kit was also performed, and we learned months later that semen was found on Jessica's body. She remained in the hospital for 3 days, but died on March 31st from her injuries. The public does not yet know if she ever regained consciousness after being taken to the hospital, but because there has been no arrest made, it seems as though she did not. If she had regained consciousness, she surely would have named the shooter. But it appears there are other reasons involved as to why there may not have been an arrest. Right from the start, this case was handled as top secret. For days, no information was released to the media. People knew about the shootings because neighbors had seen the police at the townhome, and of course they'd seen Eli's body being removed. But when I tell you no information was released, I mean no information was released. All the public knew is that Eli had been shot and killed, and Jessica had been taken to the hospital. In fact, I chose not to cover this case right off the bat because there was simply not much information to bring to you, and I'm not trying to be critical of any other creator. I am just saying I don't like to bring you speculation, and I don't like to drag stories out, repeating information to try and make an episode where there just isn't enough information there. So I waited. Now we have a little bit more. The day before I wrote this story, that would be July 8th, I was in Salt Lake City for a doctor's appointment when my phone started blowing up. My friend Skylar was texting me that the police had just released some information and it hit like a bomb going off. We're going to get into that. Let's talk a little bit about Jessica for a moment. Jessica Lyman worked in the insurance field, and one of her coworkers, like I said, was my very close friend, Skylar. Skylar is married to the person I call my sister wife. His name is Keenan. You've also met Keenan if you're on my Patreon. Skylar tells me that Jessica was lovely. They hung out a few times outside of work. Skylar says Jessica was a social butterfly that could talk to anyone. She had a cute, ditzy personality, and he said if somebody was going to trip or drop something, it was going to be Jessica. I have a lot in common with Jessica, apparently. She sounds like she was a great person. Skylar says she was a great leader, a team leader, in fact, and that whenever Skylar had an issue, Jessica was there to talk him through it. He says she protected her people fiercely and coached them like a mom would. She was a devoted mother, described as her kids' greatest champion, always cheering them on and fiercely advocating for them. Jessica worked in human resources and was consistently recognized professionally. After the murders, both she and Eli were buried on April 8th and laid to rest together at the Lehigh City Cemetery after a funeral at the Mormon Church. Because there was so little information released on this story, it was out of the news 2 weeks after the murders occurred, and we didn't hear much for a while. The only thing people were talking about was how strange it was that there was no information. The cops were playing this very close to the vest, and there were reasons for that. We've got a mother and child shot in their own home, so it's a very sensitive case, but it seemed like there might be more to it than that. The cops seemed to be very protective, guarding information almost jealously, and sometimes that's their job. People understood that. This is a small community. A beautiful mother and a gorgeous little boy were brutally slain in a safe neighborhood. Things were quiet for a long time, and then on July 8th, everything changed. Now, it's important before I go on to make it very clear, again, there has been no arrest on this case. Despite all of the information I'm about to share with you, we must keep in mind that no one has been arrested yet for this crime. I think I might be bringing you an update sooner than later. Here is the information we have as of July 8th. A warrant issued for Jessica Lyman's house back in March was unsealed on that day, which of course means the public got new information for the first time. When the police arrived at Jessica's townhome, her 15-year-old son, now 16, Noah, was in his bedroom. The boy claimed he had not heard anything, that he was in his room with his headphones on, and that he was totally unaware that his mother and little brother had been shot. Noah was removed from the townhouse and a warrant was issued to search inside. The cops went into Noah's room. In that bedroom, police found a single fishnet stocking. They found the other stocking in Jessica's room. Police found several pairs of very small female panties as well. All of this information is from the warrant. I just want to be clear about that because there's a lot of rumors going around and I do not like to add to rumors. This is from the warrant. The cluttered room was a mess, and in that mess, police found 2 BB gun pistols, plate carriers, and magazine pouches. Plate carriers are those body armor vests. They hold a bulletproof plate in a pouch in the vest, and magazine pouches attached to the plate carriers in order to store gun magazines full of ammunition. Also in the bedroom, the police found a handwritten note. The details of that note have not been released, but cops have said that the note referenced, quote, several forms of forensic evidence, including serology, DNA, and firearm testing. That's all we know about that note, but that wasn't the only note found inside Noah's room. There was a second handwritten note stating, "This is a murder story." We do not know what was written in addition to that. We also now know that cops found 2 .22 caliber shell casings inside Jessica's bedroom where the bodies were found, and police also found dried seminal fluid on the sheets adjacent to where Jessica had been lying. So I'm thinking the same thing you guys are. If this is what it looks like at this time, we're in Edmund Kemper territory here. And there's more. The police took Noah's phone. These are the text messages sent between Noah and Jessica before the murder. Now, I've also heard these text messages were weeks before the murder. That Noah tells his mother to shut the F up. He calls her a witch. He tells her she's insignificant in his life. And then he types, "I wish I died in your stomach. Wouldn't have to put up with you." Ooh. A second round of texts say equally horrible things, and this was apparently common. This was a very angry young man who had hateful feelings towards his mother. The police go through the neighborhood requesting doorbell camera footage from all of the surrounding neighbors. 2 of those cameras provided a wide angle of the south and east views. Both of those cameras captured a person exiting a gap between the two homes on Silvercrest Drive at about 2:30 a.m. on the night before Jessica and Eli's bodies were found. The person on the footage emerges from this gap between two homes, and then he walks short distances both north and south before turning north on Willowbrook Lane, only yards from Jessica's house. This person then approaches and enters a gap between two different homes on Willowbrook Lane, which is Jessica's street. He's walking east. The person pauses for a moment and puts what appears to be a white mask over his face. A third doorbell camera caught the person entering the gap between Jessica's house and another house around 3 a.m., but no one exited that gap for the rest of the night. That makes it appear as though the person went into one of the houses and stayed there. Could they have jumped over the back fence out of range of the cameras? Yes. There is something else we learned that I find very telling and a bit disturbing. The cops did not dust the sliding glass basement door, which was unlocked. They didn't dust for fingerprints. That tells me they were confident that the killer's fingerprints would be on the sliding glass door because the killer lived at the house. But what disturbs me is, what if they're wrong? I've been doing this for a long time, and if there's one thing I know, every single scintilla of evidence at a murder scene should be collected. It doesn't matter what investigators believe at the time. It doesn't matter what they assume. They should collect and test everything. And that was in the warrant. They put in the warrant that the back door was not dusted for fingerprints. Now, the police did not find a gun inside the home. Was that the reason the person was walking around at 2:30 a.m.? To get rid of the gun? So no gun was found, but a mask was. Inside Noah's bedroom, a white and brown mask that resembles the mask seen worn by the person caught on doorbell footage was found.
Well, some legal insight tonight after we were first to uncover the search warrant surrounding the murders of Jessica Lyman and her 8-year-old son, Eli.
Those warrants paint a mystery. Chief investigative reporter Wendy Halloran has been digging into this one for us today. Wendy.
Well, Heidi and Mark, an affidavit for a search warrant that gives many legal experts pause to even comment about. I'm going to break down items found during the execution of that search warrant, but keep in mind it's been 3 months since that search warrant was issued. No one has been arrested, no one has been charged, begging the question, why didn't it remain sealed? Saratoga Springs Police Detective Robert Lee's affidavit for a search warrant gives a glimpse into a crime scene riddled with bizarre clues.
It just looks heinous and angry and awful.
Crime scene technicians used an alternate light source on the bed where the mother and son were found and discovered dried semen on the sheets. Sex toys and lubricant were found in the bedroom and in the 15-year-old's bedroom. Fishnet stockings were found and several pairs of female panties were found in his room. That bedroom was described as in a state of disarray. They found a handwritten note about forensic evidence, DNA and firearm testing, and another handwritten note stating, "This is a murder story." A neighbor's surveillance cameras captured a person putting a white mask over his face. But during the original search warrant, several masks, including one light in color, were seen, but this affidavit shows they were not collected. A second search warrant signed by Judge Craig Powell authorizing another search turned up a white and brown mask, resembling the mask that was seen on the surveillance video and was found in the 15-year-old's bedroom. Text messages recovered from victim Jessica Lyman's cell phone from a texting thread between her and her 15-year-old son from July 2024. I read them to attorney Nathan Evershed.
Off. I don't like you, go away. Leave me the shut the. Do you need to learn how to shut your mouth? I'm more happy when I'm not around you.
They put it in for a reason, and the reason would be that they think it goes to motive.
Shut the can't hear you, womp womp. You're so mentally ill. Shut up, witch. Do you know how insignificant you really are to my life? Very insignificant. I wish I died in your stomach, wouldn't have to put up with you.
They're just kind of showing, I guess, the breadcrumbs of like, Judge, this is what we think.
Now, this case is still an ongoing, active investigation. We will continue to follow it and keep you posted of any new developments. Heidi?
Wendy, thank you. We have been following this story since March when it happened, and that's when police found Jessica Lyman and her 8-year-old son, Eli Painter, shot in a bedroom. Both were laid to rest at the beginning of April.
I know that DNA testing takes some time, but in a case like this, it does not usually take 3.5 months. If there was semen found on Jessica, which there was, the DNA testing on that semen should be back by now. There's a chance that it's not. I have a feeling it is, and that an arrest is imminent, and I believe that's why the police released information about what was found during the warrant search. I think we're very close to an arrest, and it almost feels like the cops are preparing the public in a way. Now, this is a rumor, but it is a very prevalent one. It is said that Noah is in a mental health facility. If that is true, and that's a big if, that would prohibit an arrest. If he is involved in this case and getting mental health treatment, that would prohibit his arrest. It's also important to note, for the sake of transparency, that there is a moment in area doorbell footage where 4 individuals appear near the townhome complex. It's dark and it's hard to make them out, but there are 4 people caught on camera in the middle of the night. This could turn out to be something else. Neighbors did not report hearing anything on the night of the murders. No one heard gunshots, which is very unusual. It's also worth noting that when doorbell camera footage was requested directly from Ring, it was denied. Ring told officers that this didn't seem like an emergency, and the company denied the officers' footage. So, Ring, are you okay? Because I cannot think of another situation more emergent than a murdered mother and her child. So I hope by bringing awareness to this, we get some changes at Ring. Remember when cell phone companies would give the cops a hard time giving out cell phone data, in the early 2000s, mid 2000s? There had to be some bad situations and a lot of fighting to get that changed. So Ring, we're going to need you to step up and help on these investigations a little better than that. This is what we know for now. I will, of course, keep you updated as this story progresses. I want to send love to everyone who knew and lost Jessica and Eli. We are so sorry for your loss and hope this case ends in as much justice as is possible in a horrific and tragic story like this. It's a cold morning in Carroll County, Georgia. In a nice house on Carrollton-Tyus Road lived 41-year-old Kristen Brock, her husband, 45-year-old James Brock, and their 6-year-old daughter, along with Kristen's daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah Grace Patrick. The little 6-year-old girl went into her parents' bedroom on Thursday morning and found her parents dead in bed. They had both been shot to death. The couple's older daughter, Sarah, then called 911 to report that her parents were dead.
Tonight, police are still looking for the person or people responsible for gunning down a couple inside their Carrollton home. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says deputies found the husband and wife early Thursday morning. Our Chase Howell is in the newsroom tonight after talking with the couple's family. And Chase, there were actually kids inside the house when all of this happened. Do they have any idea here why someone would do this?
They don't. I mean, there was nothing taken from the home. There wasn't any forced entry. And according to the family, they had no enemies.
It hurts to know that somebody would walk in their house and shoot them.
Held tight in Dennis and Linda's hands is a picture of Kristen and James Brock, the two found shot and killed in Carrollton early Thursday morning.
If it was of natural causes, you would maybe feel differently. But to go this way, it's really tough.
Dennis is Kristen's dad. He says his daughter and James have been together for close to 10 years and were raising 3 kids. The 5 and 16-year-old waking up to find both of them shot to death in their bed.
She went into the bedroom, and because she, I guess, assumed that my daughter Kristen would have been up by this time, and she went to wake her and she grabbed her hand, and she said her hand was ice cold, and looked a little further and realized that she was deceased, and she dialed 911.
Dennis says this whole situation is bizarre. He says the two were extremely active in their church, and James was waiting for a heart transplant. And not just that, but nothing in the house was missing, and there were no signs of a break-in.
If there was something they wanted in the house, they could have taken it, and they probably would never woke up. But for some reason, they wanted them dead. And I want to know why.
Since the shooting, Carroll County deputies have been at the house nonstop, trying to piece together who killed Kristen and James.
He told me they're going to, if they have to turn over every blade of grass in the yard, they're going to do that to find something to go by.
Now, for those of you who may be just learning about this, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office has ruled out murder-suicide. So that means investigators believe the two were murdered. And right now, the Nolan family is offering up a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction. Cheryl?
Chase, thinking about the family tonight. Thank you so much.
Word spread throughout the county and then the country of this terrible crime. The little girl was placed with family members, and Sarah Grace Patrick took to social media to express her grief. Her TikTok page was taken down very quickly recently, but months ago I went to it and recorded a lot of her videos because this is what I do. I had a bad feeling when I first heard this story. There was no forced entry. Nothing was taken from the home. And the teenage daughter she was on social media a little too comfortably talking so publicly very quickly after this horrific double murder. And she also moved on to posting selfies and cute videos very fast. So yes, I had a feeling. I want you to pay very close attention to these videos. I want you to watch them as if she's a grieving daughter who has been through the worst tragedy any kid can live through, the loss of two parents. But I also want you to watch them as if Sarah is a sociopath and a liar performing for the camera. Because you see, my friends, after all of what you're about to see, last week Sarah was arrested for murdering her mother, Kristen, and her stepfather, James, as they lay sleeping in bed. Yeah, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Of course, Sarah is innocent until proven guilty, but if she did this, those videos they send chills up my spine. That's got to be one cold-blooded monster, crying for the camera with mascara running down her face, writing tributes and saying that she knows God has a plan for her. It's chilling. On Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, strangely, the same day the police unsealed the warrant on the first story we just talked about, Sarah Grace Patrick was notified that an arrest warrant had been issued. She went to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and turned herself in. She appeared with her biological father, who stayed with her as she was taken into custody. A police spokesperson told the media that a lengthy investigation by local, state, and federal agencies led them to Sarah Patrick as the only suspect. She was charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths. The police say they do not currently know the motive for the murders. Right now, it appears that Sarah Patrick acted alone, but that could change in the future.
Well, after a months-long investigation, a teenage girl has now been charged in the killing of her mother and stepfather.
So the Carroll County Sheriff's Office says a 17-year-old was taken into custody this morning in connection with the February double homicide. 11 Alive's Galat Malamed is live outside of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Galat, here we're talking about months later. How did the investigators get to this point?
Investigators are calling this a sad and horrific case, saying the 17-year-old turned herself in here this morning, accompanied by her biological father, after the sheriff's office told her they had warrants out for her arrest. As for a motive, that is something investigators are still looking at.
We've got the person that we believe orchestrated this and committed this horrific crime.
The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says that person is 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick, arresting her for the February murder of her mother and stepfather, Kristen and James Brock.
We're still kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, but I can tell you what led us here today, and that's the evidence that Sarah killed her parents.
Patrick is charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. For the past 5 months, investigators worked with the FBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and private forensics labs. The Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Ashley Hulsey didn't single out a key piece of evidence or turning point that led investigators to the teen.
I believe in the beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. However, as an investigation continues and everything ebbs and flows, like I said in my press release, mountains of evidence has gotten us through here today.
The double homicide was a shock to the community, drawing attention and calls for justice on social media.
In a world where television portrays crimes being solved in under an hour, the truth here is much more complex. Real justice takes time.
Do you believe that any of the other family members knew about this?
Hard to tell. I can say this, that everybody that we have talked to through the course of the investigation, that are family members, have been nothing but cooperative.
Hulsey says the department's prayers go out to the family, especially the couple's now 6-year-old daughter who first found the couple. Patrick then dialed 911.
A mother and a stepfather will never be able to raise their children and the little girl that was in the home. To me, she's probably the saddest victim in all of this.
That's where things stand at this point in time, my friends. 2 very sad and upsetting stories today. This seems to be happening more and more, and to say it's disturbing is a major understatement. We know that teenagers' brains are not fully developed. We know that they do not often have a good understanding of long-term consequences. Science tells us that. But here is the real question that has no answer. What differentiates these killer kids from every other kid on the planet? What sets them apart from millions of other kids who get mad at their parents, at their friends, at their teachers, and who write a poem or a song or journal about their anger? What makes these kids pick up a weapon and end the life of the people who gave life to them? How does this happen? And why is it happening more often? I wish I had the answers. I hope everyone affected by the loss of Kristen and James are coping, and I want everyone affected by both of these stories to know that we are thinking of them and hoping for justice and closure when the time comes. I will keep you updated on this second story as well. Thank you for joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. This is my podcast. It's on Apple and Spotify. I post brand new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. Don't forget about our DNA fundraiser. There's a playlist on my channel simply entitled Fundraiser. Watch this video if you've got a few extra bucks. Our community is trying to help solve some cold crimes. There are thousands of DNA samples sitting in refrigeration that have never been tested. DNA that is associated with crimes. Our community raises the money. We're going to vote on which case we want to donate to. We're going to pay to get a kit tested, and hopefully we'll help out. Thanks for being with me today. I look forward to talking with you in the comments. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other. And I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.